When my dad's business went bust, the crisis not only wiped out his income, but also destroyed our family. Cornered by failure, my parents made the cruelest decision. They decided they couldn't support both of us, and would only keep my brother, Michael. According to them, he was the one with real talent. They packed me up like a burden and sent me to live with my uncle Steve, with the cowardly excuse that I would fit in much better in his home. I was 14 the afternoon my mom sat me down in the kitchen to break the news. She told me, with utter coldness, that my uncle needed help with his autistic son and that I was the right person for the job. She painted it all with deceptive words, as if she were orchestrating an act of generosity, almost making me believe I was doing them a huge favor by leaving. My dad didn't even have the courage to look me in the face during that charade. She stared at her coffee cup. I asked if she had another choice, and she replied that great sacrifices are necessary in a family. When I asked her what sacrifice Michael would make, silence was her only response. That same night, I packed my entire life into 2 simple suitcases and 3 boxes. Before I left, my brother stood in the hallway watching me. His immense guilt was evident, but he didn't say a word, not even goodbye. The walk to my Uncle Steve's house was an agonizing 45 minutes of pure silence. When I arrived, he opened the door, looked me in the eye, and simply said, "I'm so sorry you're going through this." There was no grand welcome, just the stark honesty of someone who knew I'd been lied to. My uncle wasn't a wealthy man. He owned a small construction company that barely provided enough to support his 8-year-old son, Jamie. His house was so small it only had 2 rooms, so for my entire first year living there, my official bed was an uncomfortable sofa in the living room. However, unlike my parents, my uncle never made me feel like a burden. On weekends, I found a beautiful purpose helping to take care of Jamie. I patiently taught her how to tie her shoelaces and read her the same story 1,000 times. During the week, my uncle taught me how to interpret blueprints and make estimates. I threw myself into hard work, but deep down, I always held on to the painful hope that one day my parents would call. I turned 16 and blew out the candles without my family. I sent my mom a picture of my cake. It broke my heart to see that she read the message, but she never bothered to reply. Time marched on relentlessly, and I managed to graduate with high honors. I mailed them formal invitations, hoping they would show up, but my reserved seats remained empty. My uncle, however, was there in the front row. Shortly after graduating, a construction foreman mentioned that I was exceptionally good with numbers and estimates. That simple statement ignited a tremendous ambition within me. I decided I wouldn't settle, so I started working on budgets during the day and studying engineering at university at night. It took me 6 long, grueling years to finish my degree, sacrificing nights out and sleep, but I made it. All that extra effort began to pay off. By 25, I had already obtained my own contractor's license, and just 3 years later, at 28, I made the most important financial decision of my life. I bought the business outright from my uncle, Steve. I decided to name it Davis Construction, proudly using my last name. From that moment on, I dedicated myself wholeheartedly to growing that humble company into a true giant. We aggressively expanded our operations until we had a solid presence in 3 different states. I hired 47 professionals, and we became specialists in building modern schools and large hospitals. Ironically, these were exactly the same massive projects my father used to dream about. Thousands of times I thought about calling them to boast about my overwhelming success, to rub it in their faces how wrong they were to reject me, but I always stopped in front of the phone with the same harsh question. What's the point of talking to the people who one day coldly decided that you were absolutely worthless? 10 years after being banished from my own home, fate sent me a clear sign. I received a formal invitation in the mail to my grandmother's 75th birthday party, an event being held at the most exclusive country club in the city.